I'm here with Boxing 5 promoter Larry Wainstein. Happy New Year to you and to the whole boxing community as well. Larry, we start off a new year, obviously, with a whole bunch of ambition and goals. How are you feeling, though, going into this new year?
Thanks, Hayden. Yeah, Happy New Year to you. And I now got to say you're now a married man, so your life's changed. Congratulations, Mazel Tov. And may you have many, many more blessings and lots of children. Hopefully not too many. I think this year is going to be a very interesting year. I think the new board coming in. The one problem that we've got, and we still haven't decided to put out our dates yet, is because this year, the whole month of March is Ramadan.
Yes.
So that has an effect on one or two of our fighters, not all of them, but it also has an effect on when we do a tournament at Boyson's, because it's unfair to expect Riaz and his family to work through Ramadan to set it all up and to do it. So we're going to be chatting when Colin comes back on the 12th. Riaz will be back tomorrow. And then we will chat and see when we're going to start, because we also can't start too late, because then you've got the whole of March gone, and if you want to get 8 tournaments into the balance of the year, it's 8 tournaments into 11 months. 8 months. So it's a tough task, but I'm sure we'll manage. We'll make sure that we get it in place.
You obviously going into this year, there was also talks about bigger venues and stuff like that. Is that still on the cards?
Very much so. The bigger venue, they've contacted me and said we need to talk. So I don't want to push them just yet. Everything gets back to normal next week, and I'll give them a chance, and then we'll sit down and talk. And I think we could, the way that we want to plan it, we could fit in a big tournament, and then do 2 smaller ones, like 2 weeks apart. So we could catch up, because we've got the fighters. And all the guys will be keen and to get going, and let's see what happens. And depending when the licensing takes place, we've got a few new fighters that we've signed. Interesting stuff, all looking forward to it. But I think the whole of boxing itself, the boxing community, is on a high, because the board is in now, and we just want to see what they do to make a difference and to make sure boxing goes forward. There's a host of opportunities.
Boxing 5 Promotions flagship fighter, I'll call it Pumelela Kafu. He's the world champion that's in the organization. Yeah. Are you personally going to be traveling with him to his various countries that he's going to go to?
Definitely. We would have liked to, where Boxing 5 is involved with fighters and they get offered a fight by another promoter, we don't stand in their way. That's why Potties is off to Australia, and they sat down and said, we've been offered the fight, and we said, take it. We don't stand in their way. When it comes to South Africa, whatever happens, he's keen to do a title defense, the SA title defense. And I was pleased to see that Chris started training yesterday, and he's keen. So we're keen to put that fight on. So we still got our plans. So we'll put him on, and obviously, if Potties wins, the price goes up and it becomes out of our budgets. But I'm sure we'll make a plan.
I just want to note for people at home that this interview does take place like a few hours just before the Potties fight. So,
yes.
There are variables that could happen. I wanted to talk about, obviously, if he doesn't come up, if he comes up short, he still has the SA title. But if he manages to win, does he become an international fighter now?
Well, that's what we found. With Kafu, we were offered a fight by another promoter, and we don't stand in our boxers' ways. If they can earn money, which we can't afford to give them, and put on our tournaments, then we let them fight. Kafu fought. Mr. Honda had an option on him, obviously on winning. It's an option, and there's been a bit of talks where he's going to, and so then he becomes Mr. Honda's fighter because he had the option on him. Yeah. So we don't stand in their way. That's great, So for us, we've got so many other fighters coming along, and as long as, which Colin will do, he makes sure that the fights that he gets offered are the right fights. And we don't, he's not going to be in there with the top guys and out the next day. We'll have to agree, as we've agreed on where Potties was offered the fight. Colin was involved in the negotiations, and he said, no problem, take it. He's 35, we took Kafu. We can't say to him, no, you can't take the fight because of what. Who are we to know? The guy wants to fight, let him fight, and we can see where he is. And we're not going to say, well, if he gets beat, sorry, we don't want him anymore. He's still an SA champion. We still got he can defend his title. And at his age, at 35, he can't be sitting on the shelf.
Well, I was also thinking about some of the other big international fighters that happen to be under boxing 5, which is Lorato Glamini and Sequence as well. Sequence also like in the same weight division as Pumelela. They can also feature locally though as well, can't they?
For sure, they can. But you also don't want to keep giving them a keep busy fight all the time. The guys get anxious, especially now with the result that came out in December, where Sequence's guy that he fought in Mexico, that was a split decision and everything against him, he lost by split decision, that guy drew for the world title. So that title is vacant. If you see the IBF title is vacant. Before that even happened, Colin put in a request to IBF saying this guy fought him and put in a request to look at his rating and push him up so he can now either get an eliminator or go to title.
And what do you think? What would the best thing be? Would it be to push for that eliminator?
I would say where we are now, if the guy that the Mexican that Sequence fought he didn't lose, he drew with the other guy. You've got to take your chances and try and push him for a world title fight. But that I leave to Colin. Colin knows what to do. He knows how to do it. So it's not a case of me saying, oh, now you must do this. But I know Colin would look to get him a world title shot sooner than later.
And I think Glamini's one is a bit more complicated because there are variables within the featherweight division.
Well, there is a lot of variables, but we've already discussed that. We discussed all the boxes. And we were looking to give him a keep busy fight now because he came off an illness. He still put up a hell of a show, and we want to give him a chance. So we're going to put him, maybe get an international fight here in South Africa for him. And then look to get him again, eliminator or title shot.
And if we look at your local project, Kane Free, you guys delivered immensely on promises with regards to the IBF Africa title. I know a lot of guys shout IBF Africa, but Kane Free was also one of those guys. You delivered on that.
Yeah.
His last performance, up and down, but most importantly, he gets the knockout win. How is his year looking in your eyes?
Well, let's talk about last year. I mean, exactly, it went to the script. Yeah. And then it came to the time where he wanted to fight an international fighter. We looked to put him up. We put a few fighters forward, Colin did, and they picked this fighter that's got a hell of a knockout record. But what gave me a bit of confidence, he'd come up, and this is no slight on Kane Fourie, but he had come up from a bantamweight where he was knocking everybody out, and the only lightweight fight he had, he knocked the guy out. So when I looked at that, I said, okay, we got a chance, but now it will show you if Kane is up to the task of taking a punch, coming under pressure, instead of just knocking guys out, can he come back? And he answered the question. I mean, you couldn't have asked for better. He really did. And so now it's time to look and say, but the problem is Colin and Gert will sit down with him and discuss it. You don't want the kid, and I know the kids, I want to fight in Hong Kong and I want to do this. We want him to fight, but we also don't want to let him dive in. He's still young. He's 22. He's 22. Why? Groom the fighter. Let's get him. And there's no doubt the guys that Colin deals with will be looking to put him on. It's not a case that, and from a money point of view, Boxing 5 doesn't have the backing to put on these big fighters all on one. And, who knows, maybe we get a decent sponsor and things change. But we try to cover the purses. And, you can't cover the purses with just the bums on seats. Because even though the guys say, oh, fill up the venue, they don't fill up the venue, brother. When you look at the purse money and you look at the expenses, you look at everything, we still believe, though, that he has got it and we will do the best we can. And if a fight comes along that Colin thinks is the right fight and it's not for Boxing 5, we'll let him take it. We won't stop him. We will never stop any fighter from doing that. And so we've got to, when you look at those fighters, you've got Potties coming back, win or lose. Well, if he wins, then he's gone. He's then going to be fighting a couple of decent fights with decent purse money. But he's still part of Boxing 5. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But we're never going to hold them to and say, oh, you signed with us, you got a big fighter, we say. No, we do it for the interest of the fighter.
And Boxing 5, are we at the stage yet where we can, travel into maybe other provinces, other countries? Is that there yet, or is the focus still here in Gauteng?
The focus has been, Colin and I have made quite a few contacts, and Colin's got lots of contacts. And we've spoken to guys, and some guys want to bring their fighters here, some guys will take there. So, but the focus is on getting the guys rated in the IBF and fighting for the IBF international, intercontinental, because that's the stepping stone. So that's where we've got, if you look at that, I reckon we've got probably, immediately we've got about 3 fighters that can do that, straight away. But it depends on, they come back from a holiday, how they're shaping up, what the attitudes are, and Colin will work with them and then decide, are they ready? If they're ready, we'll get them a fight. And off the top of my head, there's a few that's on the cusp, to do that. You've got Ishmael Kadri, you've got Frank Sotomela, you've got Ketlejo, and then you've got Katz, who's just been under them because he's fighting still 6 rounders, but he's going into 8 rounders, I think. So when you look at that, one thing we're not short of is putting on Boxing 5 fighters on a tournament. So we can host a Boxing 5 tournament, and if we put it on at Boyson's, it will wash its face. We'll cover our expenses with those youngsters, because we've still got a lot of fans that come to support Boxing 5. And then we've got the youngsters coming through, the ex-amateur guys that's going to get their licenses, and we'll start planning their careers and looking at that. The one thing we need to be looking at, and Colin's always looking at it, is we're very shy on lady fighters now. The head has gone overseas, she's left. But who knows, So when you look at that, we're looking at a good year next year, and there's a few surprises coming, I think. So, I mean, I'm not saying what team has got on the cusp 4 world titles, 4 world champions. And then you've got Colin still with the special one, So, for me, it's been an unbelievable year. For Boxing 5, it's been an unbelievable year. We've got people phoning me out, people phoning me from Benin, phoning me from Mauritius. They want to work with us. It's all well and good, but obviously you need to understand, do they want us to fund, or are they going to help fund? And there's a few things on the go,
Sure. And when you see your boxers on social media, I'm seeing a lot of the Boxing 5 guys already starting in December, getting in shape, and I'm looking at the boxers' motivation. I mean, they all want to get on that first tournament, whenever it may be. How are you going to balance all that?
Well, the one thing that you're not going to be able to do is to put the likes of Ishmael, Samir Mullah, because they're Muslim, and there's Samir Mullah too on the cusp there.
Ramadan.
Yeah, it's Ramadan, and it's the whole of March.
Yeah.
So it's also unfair for us to expect Riaz and his family to put on a tournament in March.
Yes.
Do you understand? But the boxers can train, if they want to, and be ready for April, early April. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So those are things we're going to be discussing now when Colin comes back. Because we've already planned dates, and then when Colin was away now, I looked at it, and then Riaz said to me, but Ramadan's March. So that's where we are, Obviously, it'd be exciting to see what the new board does. That's always going to be a challenge,
What's your take on that? Because it looks like a new, fresh. Not many people know exactly who the new board is and the members. I suppose that's a good thing in a way.
No, it's a good thing, and you've got to give them a chance. You have to give them a chance. And everyone says, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, give them a chance, and they must prove to us. What will show whether BSA has changed their ways, and if BSA are putting their print on boxing in South Africa, where boxers were sent, one boxer got knocked out 3 weeks ago or whatever, and 2 weeks later he's fighting in Tanzania. Now, I'll ask you this, how does Dr. Ngatana, who sanctions the WBC, and none of them had clearances, how does he sanction a tournament without the boxers having clearance? The one boxer got knocked out, he has to have a 6 weeks break, 3 weeks later he's fighting again and he got knocked out.
And he got knocked out again. Yeah.
when are they going to show? This is the time they must show that they are running boxing when it comes to that. And leave the boxers and the managers to train and do what they do. But they need to put their foot down. And I've been saying it, again, here's the opportunity. When boxers don't pitch up for a weigh-in, I'm telling AB, I don't want them anywhere. I don't care, associated boxers or whatever, I don't want them anywhere in your boysons. They are banned. We won't start letting them do what they did to us last year and the year before. They have a chance to shake up this whole thing. Make people say, well, geez, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know?
Hold people accountable. I think that's the most important.
Oh, I tell you what,
All right, and Larry, just lastly from you want to send a message to maybe the South African boxing public, any thank yous, any shout-outs?
Yeah, always like to wish the boxing fraternity the best of luck in the future for them, and thank you for their support, because without the support we wouldn't be where we are. And I mean, I was approached, I'll just tell you this, which it just shows you how people are coming to us. I was approached by somebody in Australia, funny enough, a guy I played soccer with, in South Africa. He's over there, and they've just developed an app to detect brain injury.
Okay.
And you take a photo, and it's an app, and it's affordable. So you take a photo of the eyes, it gets sent back it goes to a server, and within 3 minutes, it's diagnosed, there's a problem there, or the guy's fine, good to go. You know what a changer that will be for boxers?
Save a lot of money as well.
And I just hope BSA takes it up and looks at it, because every doctor at a tournament should have the app, and it's not expensive. And every fighter that when he's licensed must have do that test. They don't have to send them and say, you need to go and have a brain scan. Look what it's going to do. It's going to change the whole focus of that medical side. But to get BSA to do anything like that, look,
They need some convincing, yeah.
they need convincing. But we're going to do it. We're going to take it on. I already told him. He's coming out next week.
Okay.
We're going to be doing it for our fighters, because it's important. And we go forward. So 2025 is exciting.
Looks like we're going to need a whole other interview for this.
No. In fact, when he's here,
Yeah.
I'll get you to interview him. Now, he got on the phone because he's coming in 2 weeks' time. And he's approached Jomo for the soccer. And through that, he said, my friend said, but Larry's in boxing. You should get hold of him, because more so, the boxers can't afford it.
Yeah.
Soccer players can afford it. The clubs can afford it.
Yeah.
So that's where it came about. And I was with him this morning. Very exciting.
Wow.
Very exciting.
It's gonna be a game changer.
We put in the legal side for the boxers, which we'll have to see how that takes off. So it's looking good. They're looking good.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens this year. Obviously, it's all going to come after your meetings and stuff. We're going to find out a little bit more.
After meetings, we have to put the peg in the ground and say, this is it, and these are the dates. Because we also need to give our friends who we've signed up a deal with for a venue, they want the dates.
Right.
So we're looking good.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
all the best, and we'll see you soon.
No, for sure. And thanks for all your hard work. And who knows what the new year brings.